Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and there we go. The Washington Commanders selected Oregon offensive tackle Josh Conerly Jr. in the first round, 29th overall of the 2025 NFL Draft. Yes, I know Mike Green was available. I know Donovan Ezraku was available. I know Nick Anwawari was available. But I'm going to convince you, and I'm going to make sure you know why Josh Conerly Jr. was a home run pick right there at 29 overall. You just took one of your strengths and made it even stronger. You got to counter what this division is doing. You see the Giants defensive line with ABDUL Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns. You already see the Eagles defensive line with all of my Georgia dogs on it. All my dogs on that defensive line. You already see what they're doing. And Micah Parsons is on the Cowboys. You got to be able to go through those guys. You got to build through the trenches to be able to win in this division and make it to the Super Bowl. We made it to the NFC Championship without a top 5 offensive line. I'm here to break down how Josh Conerly takes our offensive line to top 5 level in this NFL. I'm here to give you a comp for him as well. And I'm also here to show you not only break down how he shut down ABDUL Carter, 3rd overall pick of the Giants, but also I'm going to show you how with some all 22 tape as well. But before we get into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release informative and opinion video just like this one. Shouts out to all of y'all that pulled up for the draft live stream. We had so much fun. We had the call-in show before it. We did some mock drafts. Then we predicted and broke down every single pick of the draft. We had so much fun, man. And then when it got close to the Commanders pick, we were all nervous. I was playing all of the fun sound effects about how excited we were. It was a real moment, man. That was real special. I'm probably going to take that clip out and upload that as a separate video as well. But man, I really appreciate all of y'all that pulled up, that left likes, that donated, that were in the chat. We had such a great time, so many great opinions. But without further ado, let's go and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. And y'all know me, man. If you're not a channel member, go become one, because I will be doing some film sessions on Josh Conerly Jr. We'll probably do more than one. Like, instead of like trying to go through and I take the traits and it takes me like all day to edit and stuff like that, you know what? This time around, we're just gonna flat out do these raw, uncut versions of the film sessions where we just look at game by game, every single snap. I'm not cutting anything out. So make sure you stay tuned for those. I may do like quick cut ups for like everybody else to see, like a couple of plays here and there to show, improve my points. But those of y'all that are channel members this year, y'all are getting a plenty of film sessions, and it's starting with Josh Conerly Jr., most notably his tape against ABDUL Carter. I will break that down, but I'm also going to show you some of his tape against ABDUL Carter in this video while we're talking about him later on. But again, this is a home run pick. I'm here to spend this entire video explaining to you why. Now, of course, shouts out to Ian Rappaport. He was the first person I saw tweeted that the Commanders picked number 29, Oregon offensive tackle Josh Conerly Jr. We traded for Laramie Tunsil and then also took a first-round offensive tackle. You can tell they are not playing about Jaden Daniels. He's our most important asset. Why not make sure that he's fully protected? Your most important asset now potentially has a top 5 offensive line in front of him. He should be good to go. I mean, granted, we don't have necessarily a deadly pass rusher yet, but I dare a team to stop us from scoring 30, 40 points a game with a top 5 offensive line, and you added Deebo Samuel in the offseason. I mean, come on, man. Shouts out to Irvin Magic Johnson. Shouts out to him. Of course, he's rooting for us. He's a partial owner. He tweeted, "The Commanders Nation, I'm truly excited about our pick, offensive tackle Josh Conerly Jr. from Oregon. Welcome to the DMV," and welcome indeed, man. And shouts out to Josh Conerly too, because before we even dive into who he is and why I feel like this was a home run pick, Conerly did say that the Commanders are a great place to be after he was interviewed. He said the energy was right, and basically that the Commanders are headed in the right direction. He's basically thankful that he fell to the Commanders. He also said, quote, "Was I expecting it? Yeah, I was ready to go," unquote. So, I mean, just to remind you, We met with this guy several times during the draft process. We met with him at the Senior Bowl. We had a formal meeting with him at the Combine, not just some random meeting. We had one of those ones where it's limited. You can only do that with a certain amount of players at the Combine. We spent that on him. Then we met with him at his pro day, and then we brought him in for a top 30 visit as well. The interest was clear there. That's why if you go check back on a lot of my videos, some of my live streams, some of my mock drafts, I kept mentioning Josh Conerly Jr. And just to let you know, he only allowed 1 sack last year out of 523 pass blocking snaps. Stop playing with him. Matter of fact, per season in 2022, he allowed 0, even though he didn't play as much. Then he became a starter in 2023. He only allowed 1. And then in 2024, he only allowed 1. You could argue we have the best pass protecting duo of offensive tackles in the entire NFL right now. Literally, between Josh Conerly Jr. and Laramie Tunsil, we probably have the best pass protecting duo at tackles in the NFL with a top 5 quarterback. How can you ever be mad at that? I also want to point out the fact that this guy is 21 years old. He's one of the youngest players in the draft. The only player that I know definitively is younger than him is my Georgia dog, Michael Williams, because I'm a Georgia dog fan. Of course I know that. He's only 20. He'll be 21 in June, but still right now he's 20. Josh Conerly's only 21 years old, man. And if you just go look at his tape against Carter in that Big Ten title game. Again, we're going to dive into it later, but that tells you everything you need to know, man. And what's even better is that he kept improving. The beginning half of the season, you saw more flaws than you saw towards the second half of the season, and the Commanders are betting on that trajectory for him to continue to get better and better and better. And I think he will. I think he has Pro Bowl tackle written all over him. He's 6'5", 311 pounds. I think he's good enough to be a really good left tackle, let alone a right tackle. That's why I feel like he has Pro Bowl potential there, maybe even all pro. I think he has potential Pro Bowl potential at left tackle. Right tackle, he could probably be an all pro, man. He had 14 starts at left tackle this year for Oregon this past season. He was a finalist for the Joe Moore Award, which is the nation's top offensive lineman. And of course, again, that Abdul Carter tape, we're going to get there later. That's all you need to know. If you don't need to watch anything else, just spend 40 seconds later on when I show you that Abdul Carter tape, the snaps that he had against him. And also to remind you, Josh Conerly Jr. was a 5-star recruit. He was the second-ranked defensive tackle in that 2022 recruiting class, just ahead of Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell in that recruiting class. Just goes to show how talented of a guy he is. Now, if you don't want to believe nothing else, and again, we're going to dive into his strengths and weaknesses and all of that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why he was available at 29. That's the weaknesses. We're going to talk about the strengths and why he was a home run pick and why he propels us into a top 5 offensive line. But before we get there, look on the screen right now. Excuse me. Take a look at that top right quadrant. You see Josh Simmons in the top left quadrant along with Armand Membu and Kelvin Banks. That's cool and all. You see Will Campbell down there at the bottom middle. Look at that top right quadrant. And if you don't understand what's going on, time to throw is this x-axis at the bottom going from left to right. Pass block efficiency is the y-axis going from bottom to top. And if you don't understand any of that, just look at the company that he's in. Look at the quadrant that he's in with Peter Skoronski, Joe Alt, Christian Darrisaw, Tristan Wirfs, and Rashawn Slater. Need I say more? He's in that caliber of offensive tackles, and we just got him 29th overall with no real injury history. He had no business making it to 29. Even with Mike Green and Donovan Ezeraku on the board and Nick Amawari, there's a strong argument to be made that Josh Conerly Jr. was the best player available, and I feel like that's why they went with him. You know, I think they feel like he was honestly best player available. I don't feel like they necessarily think that we have like a deficiency at offensive line, like that was one of our biggest needs. They were just like, there's no way Josh Conerly is available right now at 29. And there were reports that we wanted to trade back, and I'm sure they wanted to. But when Josh Conerly was available at 29, they had to jump on it. And I just refuse to understand any fans that doubts anything Adam Peters is doing right now. Like I've been saying for the past few days, this guy just took us from 4 wins to 14 in one off season. How does he not have the utmost benefit of the doubt from our fan base right now? I'm upset with anybody that doesn't understand what Adam Peters is doing right now. Or okay, it's okay if you don't understand it, but at the very least, trust in it. I don't get how y'all can be upset about a pick that Adam Peters has made at this point, because whatever draft he had last season, along with the free agency that he had, whatever that was, it took us from 4 wins to 14. I'm pretty sure whatever mock drafts we all came up with, more than likely would not have taken us from 4 wins to 14. So in Adam Peters, I trust, and you should too. Again, Josh Conerly is, if you want to be really specific, is in the same company as Christian Darrisaw and Joe Alt, at least when it comes to pass protection by itself. He's the same pass protector as Joe Alt and Christian Darrisaw. I don't know what else there is to say. We can end the video right now, mic drop. But let's dive into it. Ken Johannesson brings up a good point. Washington's offensive line is now a strength. You could argue it was one of our strengths last year. I felt like it was a top 15 unit last year. Adding Josh Conerly Jr. just made it a top 5 unit. Jaden will have much better protection this season, even better than what he had last year. Yeah, this may not necessarily be the sexy pick that everybody wanted, but this is a good pick. This is a great pick. Forget everything. This is a great pick, and I'm excited about what we're going to do in round 2 as well. I mean, let's put it into this perspective. You had a top 15 offensive line last year by a lot of different surface stats, advanced metrics, whatever you want to look at. Most people would say we had a top 15 offensive line last year, right? Well, how about that top 15 offensive line now takes 2 of its starters and puts them onto the bench, and Nick Allegretti at left guard and Andrew Wiley at right tackle. We were panicking, like, what are we going to do as far as backup swing tackle with Cornelius Lucas? Andrew Wiley goes from your starting right tackle to your backup tackle. Nick Allegretti goes from your starting left guard to your backup guard. And remember, we just signed Nate Herbig, who was supposed to be the Steelers starting center last year on that really good offensive line, but he ended up getting hurt, missing the entire season. He's part of our backup group as well, so he's the backup behind Tyler Biadasz at center. I wouldn't have been surprised if he started at left guard for us, but now that Brandon Coleman is projected to move to left guard, now that you have Josh Conerly at right tackle, we have insane depth at offensive line. You have a top 5 unit as a starting unit, and then your depth has multiple starters on it. Again, Nick Allegretti's your backup guard. He was just starting left guard on a top 15 unit last year. Nate Herbig was supposed to start at center for the Steelers last year before he got hurt and missed the entire season. And then Andrew Wiley was our starting right tackle on a top 15 offensive line last year. And now he's your backup swing tackle if there is an injury. I don't see how people are too mad, upset in any way at taking one of your strengths and making it stronger. Not just the offensive line. How about the overall offense? How about what Cliff Kingsbury can do with the play calling and the play designs? How much more athletic Josh Conerly is than Andrew Wiley on pulling, on getting ahead of Jaden. Imagine Jaden Daniels speed option to the outside, Josh Conerly Jr. out in front blocking for him. There's not a more mobile offensive tackle in this draft that's better suited for that exact situation and many other situations like it than Josh Conerly Jr. was in this draft. I'm surprised he made it this far. So right now, I'm projecting this offensive line to be Larry Tunsil, top 3 at worst, top 5 left tackle in the NFL, right? Brandon Coleman, I think he has Pro Bowl potential at left guard. Maybe even all pro. I'm that high on him at guard. I liked him at tackle. He held his own. Remember, this guy held Trey Hendrickson to one of his worst games all season last year. He was the NFL's sack leader last year. He held Trey Hendrickson to one of his worst games all season last year, and he's no longer at left tackle. He's just starting left guard. And he's a monster too. I feel like he's better suited for left guard with how big he is and strong he is. Tyler Biadasz is a top 5 center, at worst top 7 center. Samuel Cosme is clearly a Pro Bowl guard. He was voted that way by his peers. Don't even take it from me. The NFL views Samuel Cosme as a Pro Bowl right guard, and I would agree. And then now you have Josh Conerly Jr., who completely erased Abdul Carter in his matchup against him last year in the college football season at right tackle. I don't see where there's the room to complain, man. Shouts out to Mark Tyler, because I agree. This draft pick makes you better at 2 positions. Right tackle gets better with a stud, and left guard now gets better because Brandon Coleman's just starting left guard. Wiley and Allegretti are now swing reserves, and now you're protecting your biggest asset even better than you already were. Come on, man. Imagine how much time Jaden Daniels is going to have in that pocket. You know, he prefers to not run. He's an elite pocket passer. Some people even say he shows shades of Tom Brady. Tom Brady said it himself that he reminds of himself. This guy just so happens to be extremely mobile, a top 3 mobile quarterback in the NFL as well. With this type of protection, he won't have to take off as much. You have Deebo Samuel as an additional weapon. Noah Brown's only going to get better as he understands the offense more. You have Michael Gallup as depth. You have KJ Osborne with an offseason learning the offense. And then, of course, Terry McLaurin, let alone what we may do with the rest of this draft. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. And shouts out to Chris Russell for pointing out the fact that Josh Conerly had 28 starts at left tackle for Oregon in the last 2 years. This guy's Mr. Consistency. You don't have to worry about injuries. So forget injury proneness. That's another thing that's beautiful. Laramie Tunsil, Josh Conerly, you're booking tackles right now. Arguably the best pass protecting tackle duo in the NFL. They also don't miss games. Come on, bro. That's dependability there. Shouts out to Dane Brugler. He pointed out his traits are outstanding lateral quickness, change of direction and overall movement skills. All of that outstanding. Explosive jump setter to easily cut off pass rush angles. So anybody that's a speedy pass rusher trying to run around tackles, you're not going to do it with our two tackles. And he also has elite recovery balance. So even if you think you have him beat the first time at the beginning of the rep, he finds a way to always recover and finish it off and win the rep. That's insane, especially with a guy like Jaden Daniels with his mobility, and he just seems to have eyes in the back of his head. His pocket presence and pocket poise is elite. So Josh Conerly may lose at the beginning of the rep. He'll recover. Jaden Daniels will recover with him. When in doubt, if Josh Conerly somehow loses, Jaden Daniels is gonna make him right with his mobility. I just don't see a scenario where Jaden Daniels gets touched much at all this season. Also, shouts out to Mitch Tisler for bringing up the fact that this guy had the fastest 10-yard shuttle of any offensive lineman out of the entire combine. Centers, guards, tackles, anybody. And that tracks very, very well with Cliff Kingsbury loving athletic offensive linemen that can get out in space and block. Again, imagine Josh Conerly out in front of Jaden Daniels. When Jaden Daniels has the ball in his hands, he's scrambling, or it's a designed quarterback run where we know he's running with the ball, and Josh Conerly's out there just wiping out linebackers and DBs and paving the way for him. If we had Josh Conerly last year, Jaden Daniels runs for even more yards than he did and gets hit way less. And like I told y'all months ago, the way you knew that this guy has some real potential to him is that he held Abdul Carter to his worst game last year. How about 0 pressures last season when they faced against each other? This guy held the best pass rusher in this very deep edge rusher class to 0 pressures. What else do you need to know? I mean, are y'all not hearing me? Like, since the Giants got Abdul Carter at 3rd overall in the 1st round, why not get the guy that completely erased him out of a game and forced Carter to have his worst game last season? The Giants took Abdul Carter at 3rd overall, and we just drafted the guy that takes him out of games 29th. How is that not excellent value? What is there to complain about from what I'm seeing from a lot of Commanders fans, man? Y'all saw the highlights just now that I showed you from the All-22 tape of him blocking him. Shut him down. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's the perfect prospect. I mean, there's an anchor problem. You would love for him to get stronger, but that's something you can teach. He has trait, skills, and athleticism that you can't teach. There's nothing Cliff Kingsbury, Bobby Johnson, and Anthony Lynn can do about trying to give another tackle what Josh Conerly has in mobility, footwork, even a lot of his technique, his grip strength, his recovery speed. You know what I'm saying? It's either impossible or extremely difficult to teach that. You can give this guy a stronger anchor. You can get him in the weight room. You can get him a certain diet and nutrition to get him stronger, and he will still be that elite athlete, and that will fix every problem that he has, man. You can easily make him stronger. You can't make another tackle get Conerly's level of footwork and mobility and agility and the ability to mirror edge rushers and pass protection. You can't teach that. He has got things you can't teach, and the one thing I would complain about with him is anchor is something that you can teach and grow on him. Now, my comp for him, easily, and I feel like it's so obvious, and I talked about this months ago. I mean, if you remember, I've talked about Josh Conerly for months now, weeks ago. I already told you his comp, but just in case for those of y'all who have not heard me say it yet, he's 3-time All-Pro Dwayne Brown. All day, up and down. Literally the same player. I'm personally higher on Josh Conerly than other people have been since this entire draft process, and other than Mike Green and Donovan Ezraku being available, I prefer Josh Conerly there at 29, especially over guys like Nick Amawari and a lot of the other guys that a lot of y'all wanted, man. I think this is a home run pick. Again, my comp for him is literally Dwayne Brown, a 3-time All-Pro tackle. And also, speaking of comp, shouts out to Grant Cohn, because he brings up a good point. I'm not saying he's Trent Williams, but they are literally the same height. Trent Williams is only 4 pounds heavier. Josh Conerly had a faster 10-yard split. They had the exact same 34.5-inch vert. And if anything, Josh Conerly had 1 more bench rep than Trent Williams. So you can argue that he's stronger, at least in the arms, maybe not in the anchor. But I comp him the 3-time All-Pro Dwayne Brown. Grant Cohn brings up a good point that this guy may have some Trent Williams in him as well. And as far as combine performances, he was a better combine performer than Trent Williams was. Now, again, I'm telling y'all right now, once he learns how to get a true anchor and becomes more consistent with the great flashes that he has, especially in pass protection, but definitely in the run game is where he needs to improve, I literally see a future Pro Bowler in him. I mean, it may take a year or two, maybe, to get that like out of him very consistently to the point that we consider him a Pro Bowler, but almost everything you want in a tackle traits wise, if you were to build one in the lab, Josh Conerly literally is that guy. He had no business falling to 29, just need to see everything that he has more consistently. But this guy shuts down elite pass rushers when it's time to step up against top competition. Again, he held Abdul Carter to 0 pressures, the 3rd overall pick. Need I say more, man? I don't know what else y'all want from me on that. And then, I mean, again, I'm assuming that Brandon Coleman moves to starting left guard. You could argue that this would not only be a top 5 offensive line, it may be the most athletic offensive line in all of the NFL, man. The ceiling of this offensive line is absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. And don't forget the fact that this is also a really smart player. You know, a lot of tackles coming out of the draft, they don't have that nuance, like mentally. You know what I'm saying? Technique is one thing. He has that as well. But mentally, any twists, any stunts that you could throw at him, he's ready for all of that. You know what I'm saying? Physically, with his elite mobility and athleticism, but also mentally as well. He's been there, done that. This guy comes with a high floor and also comes with an elite ceiling, a Pro Bowl, maybe even All-Pro level ceiling. I'm telling you, and right now, again, if Jaden Daniels, which he is our most important asset, I don't see what people have to complain about, man. I just don't get it. And shouts out to Ref the District for pointing this out, too, because Adam Peters is not playing. Within 2 years with the Commanders, not even a full 2 years, but really kind of like 2 off seasons, he signed free agent Tyler Biadasz, a top 5'7" center. He signed free agent left guard Nick Allegretti, who started last year for you on a top 15 offensive line. He extended right guard Samuel Cosmi 4 years, Pro Bowler. He drafted tackle guard Brandon Coleman in the 3rd round. He has Pro Bowl potential. A 3rd round pick is insane value there. Traded for Laramie Tunsil, top 3, top 5 left tackle. Re-signed blocking tight end John Bates, and he drafted Josh Conerly in the 1st round of the 2025 draft. If this isn't one of the best, arguably, maybe even literally the single-handedly best pass protection team in the entire NFL, I would be shocked. And shouts out to the love that we're getting around the internet, because again, some Commanders fans are low on this, but Walter Football gave us an A grade for this. He feels like this was a home run pick. He said the Commanders acquired Laramie Tunsil, but they still needed one more offensive lineman. They were rumored to like Tyler Booker, but Josh Conerly makes sense as well. Conerly is a very athletic lineman who could play tackle and guard. This versatility will definitely help the Redskins, and I'm sure Jaden Daniels will be happy about this one. And then Brian Baldinger. You know, he didn't do a film session for every draft pick in the 1st round. He did a whole full 1 minute and 41 second film session of Josh Conerly as soon as we selected him on his Twitter account. So go check that out if you haven't yet, because he absolutely loves this pick for us, and you should as well. Walter Football, I don't necessarily agree with everything he says at all. Nowhere near. But he loves the pick. Brian Baldinger, again, he only did like a handful of film sessions on his Twitter for these draft picks, and he chose Josh Conerly as one of them. Also, shouts out to Sam 48 for pointing out the fact that Josh Conerly grew up in Seattle and played at Rainier Beach High School, which is, that is a high school hoops powerhouse. Nate Robinson, Jamal Crawford, DeJounte Murray, Ryan Anderson, Kevin Porter Jr., and Doug Christie. And I also want to remind you that he started off as a running back just a few years ago, and a tight end and a defensive end, and just switched to offensive line as a sophomore. Now a 1st round offensive tackle, man. This guy's story is insane. A running back, tight end, defensive tackle turned 1st round offensive tackle, Pro Bowl, All-Pro potential offensive tackle is insane, and he's gonna look like it, because even the reason I really feel like he's going to turn into a Pro Bowler is because of the situation around him. First of all, the offensive lineman next to him, he has a Pro Bowl guard in Samuel Cosmi. So he's not going to be making mistakes because the guy next to him is making mistakes. He doesn't have to overachieve and, try to overcompensate for the lack of talent next to him. He has Samuel Cosmi to the left of him. And then you have Cliff Kingsbury, arguably one of the smartest offensive minds in all of football right now that's going to do whatever it takes to put him in the best situations to succeed. I mean, Andrew Wiley, you saw the difference between Andrew Wiley with Eric Bieniemy and Andrew Wiley under Cliff Kingsbury. Enough said with Josh Conerly Jr. And then Jaden Daniels is your quarterback? You saw Michael Dieter say it himself. Thank you, Jaden Daniels, for making me right. Jaden Daniels is going to make this offensive line even better than it already naturally is. It's just, this is insane, man. So if I'm Josh Conerly Jr., I'm looking at the Commanders like, please, before this draft even starts, please let me fall to them. Because they're a situation where I could go be the very best I could be. If there's any chance for me to make an all-pro team, it's on that offensive line with the Commanders, with Jaden Daniels as your quarterback and Cliff Kingsbury as your offensive coordinator, Bobby Johnson as your offensive lines coach, and Anthony Lynn as your run game coordinator. If anybody can teach Josh Conerly Jr. to become a better run blocker, it's that group of guys right there. So I think it's a match made in heaven. I'm pretty sure Josh Conerly was dreaming about landing to the Commanders. And that's just the new standard that we have, the new culture. Players want to get drafted by us. He was happy that he fell to us. And I'm telling you right now, he had no business falling to 29. You will see 3 years from now, people, not even just Commanders fans, people all around the NFL are going to be like, how do we let that guy fall to 29? Especially after the evidence was obvious. He held Abdul Carter to 0 pressures. Erased the man. We're going to look back 3 years from now and be like, how did he hold Abdul Carter to 0 pressures and we let him fall to 29 to the Commanders after they traded for Laramie Tunsil? I'm telling you right now, bet on it. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please stick on that like button, stick on the subscription button, stick on the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinion video just like this one. Let me know how you feel about the Josh Conerly player. And also let me know how you feel about the pick, because I feel like that's two different things. Because the pick is separate because Mike Green and Donovan Ezaraku and Nick Amawari, Will Johnson were available. So let me know how you feel about the pick. Let me know how you feel about the player. How do you feel about his fit? Do you agree with my comp for him? How do you like the Trent Williams comparison that was thrown out there just by the pure physicals and testing, the measurables? He's literally Trent Williams by body and athleticism. It's crazy how close they are with vertical, arm length, weight, all of that. It's in 10-yard split, literally the same player. Of course, the film isn't the same, but it's the same player traits-wise, built in a lab-wise. So let me know how you feel about everything. Of course, leave a like on the way out. I will be on the Commanders King stream tomorrow night, as in Friday night, technically tonight, because it's 12:40 a.m. right now. We'll be covering the second and third round of the draft, so make sure you pull up for that, because I'm hoping the Commanders find a way to get a third round pick as well, so we could be picking in the second and third round. Hopefully somehow we find a way to come away with a Donovan Ezaraku or Travion Henderson. We'll see how that goes. But I really appreciate y'all, and I will be again live streaming on this channel again for Saturday rounds 4 through 7. So make sure you pull up for those late round steals and sleepers, because you know I got a few. I got some gems that I'm like, hey, if the Commanders get this guy, I know it's a day 3 pick, but trust me, he has Pro Bowl potential. I'm gonna put y'all on, so pull up for that. I will be breaking down those picks as well. Really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Again, I'm working on film sessions for Josh Conerly tonight, so go become a channel member if you haven't already. I really appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all later. Leave a like on the way out. Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all later. Thanks for all y'all that pulled up to the stream, left a like, donated, all of that. I'm out.